Question: are you ready to be suddenly single? Let's talk about it. Back in a few. Hi, this is Jan from New York City. Let me get my microphone. Hi, this is Jan from New York City. And my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. And by the way, if you are brand new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a veteran here, thank you humbly. And if you're brand new here, I said that already. I think I need some coffee. Well, I'm glad we're starting off a little lightheartedly today, but we're going to talk about a serious thing: becoming suddenly single. This can strike at any time. And I do not like doing fear based broadcasting, but we're just talking about real life for a couple of minutes. Okay, how ready are you, financially speaking? Forget the emotions for a while, okay? Because the emotion's going to happen no matter what. That's just a fact, okay? Back in 2004, I was suddenly single because my sweet dear husband passed suddenly, and it wasn't fun. I'm not going to focus on that because I am not a negative person. But let's talk about financials. Do you sit down and look at your budget, or do you defer everything to your spouse, no matter if you're a woman or a man? A man can do it too. I know some men that never want to look at their budgets and leave it all up to the wife. So, you know, I think, in my honest opinion, that marriage is an equal partnership, and that goes for being responsible financially. You see, the worst thing in the world, it's hard enough to lose a person that you love in your life. That's hard enough. But when you also have to like figure out, I mean, I knew someone who constantly let it go and let their husband do all the quote accounting, and that person did not want to be bothered with it at all. She didn't want to look at a bill. She didn't want to look at anything. She didn't want to look at her budget. And he didn't seem to mind it either. So for them, it worked. And at that point, it was like, oh, okay, this works. Well, he left her suddenly single, and she didn't even know how to write a check. That is a sad, scary place to be. I don't want anyone viewing this video to be in that position. Okay, because it is tough enough, when you're used to living a certain way, you have your loving spouse with you, and then they're suddenly not there. That is, like I said, that is bad enough. But when you have to figure out all the small details by yourself, this is the time while you have the chance to talk about it. To talk, if you're married with someone that you love, you should be able to. I'm assuming that everything's great communication. Just have that chat. So what happens, God forbid, if, I call it the heaven forbid, the God forbid chat that has to happen. Luckily, I knew where things were. Luckily, I participated with, and it wasn't a strange, shocking thing for me in that area. And that's my message to you today. So therefore, let's start with the budgeting. Okay. Knowledge is power. But you can know things, but if you don't apply them in your life, I could sit down and learn a whole bunch of stuff. But if I don't do them, that's what I'm trying to say. So why not practice a little bit of getting familiar? If you this is for the person that's petrified to look at a budget, for example. This is for the person that may not wittingly, not on purpose, but they find themselves never making any financial decisions, getting to learn more about your financials. Okay? This is very, very important. You just do not want to be in a situation where you're scratching your head and going, duh. Because you're the one that has to pick yourself up and dust yourself off. And I don't know. Sometimes people think it's always going to be perfect life. Sad to say, perfect life can change in a moment's notice, just like that. Just like that. Even to the best of us, just like that. Again, I'm not being a fear based thing here. I'm speaking the truth. Okay. Now, it's one thing when people, for example, they're in a bad marriage and they make, a decision, mutual decision to end it. You have a heads up. You know what you're going to do. You know your intention. You have time. Okay. But if you are suddenly single because God called your spouse home, it's a different world. Okay. So therefore, knowledge is power. And what can we do about it? We could get educated. The great news is on this very platform, there's a plethora of information. I'm going to research some stuff that I might feel might be the best for you to look at, one or two videos and hook it up in my description box. Okay. I'm just trying to be helpful and I'm just trying to be realistic. Who out there has ever become suddenly single and it was hard to adjust financially? Who out there became suddenly single, but you had at least a little bit of a plan in place? So it wasn't, we're not talking about the emotional part. That's a separate tough issue. We're talking business, we're talking financials. Who out there was as ready as can possibly be ready? I hope and pray that everyone viewing will be ready when tragedy strikes. That's it. In the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City. Thank you so much for viewing. Why? Because I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to come back in the future for some more tips, tricks, reminders, and everything else I could possibly talk about. There you go. Have an amazing, fantastic day, and never forget, knowledge is power.